Hey there, winos. This is Vince.Wine, and today I have yet another Dave Phinney wine for you. Just kidding. Move over, Dave Phinney. I've got a new favorite winemaker. We're popping the cork on 1858 by Chuck Wagner on today's Wine Lab. Hey, thanks for joining me. And before we get started today, if you want to be a winoceros, hit subscribe on this channel to become a wino today. I'll put out new videos every single Saturday, so be sure to hit that bell icon to stay notified for more great wine content. So if you're a regular wino, then you know that I have been reviewing so many Dave Phinney wines. The end screen of this video will have those videos so you can check them out. But I may have found a brand new winemaker with a vast series of wines to start checking out. So if you don't know Chuck Wagner, this is the winemaker behind the ever popular Caymus wines. These are super high-end, highly awarded, highly accoladed wines. Wine Spectator's giving them Wine of the Year twice. They've really done a fantastic job there, Chuck Wagner and his family. And together, they are also the winemakers behind Mer Soleil vineyards, who do Pinots and Chardonnays from the Monterey area, as well as Conundrum, a super affordable, kind of mid to bottom shelf wine, and a number of other brands you may or may not have heard of as well, mostly from the Napa region. And that's exactly where Chuck Wagner and his family are from, and this wine, in fact, 1858, is named after the year that Wagner's great-grandfather purchased their first vineyards in Napa. Now, when I picked this up, I mistakenly thought I was grabbing 1858 blend from Paso Robles. That's one of my favorite wine tasting regions, so for me, I thought that would make a lot of sense, but I'm realizing this is just the red blend. So we're gonna pop this open, and I believe there are a number of other wines now in the 1858 label. Okay, getting a closer look at our label here, so you can see the 1858 big, bold, taking up the majority of the label. And again, this is the red blend, so I'm not sure exactly what all the varietals that are in this particular wine. California red wine, vinted and bottled by Caymus Vineyards, so it does call out that it is from the Caymus producers, their facilities in Fairfield, California. And on the back here is really that story. In 1858, great-grandfather settled in the heart of California's wine country. More than 150 years later, we're still exploring up and down the state. We find vineyards that intrigue us with the climate and character to produce our style of wine. And there he is, Chuck Wagner. Lot 2 California red wine, 14.2 on that alcohol. So by that statement, exploring up and down the state, my guess is that this is a blend of multiple different varietals from multiple different vineyards. There's also just no specific vineyard specific or appellation specific call out on this bottle, so that's probably pretty true. But that doesn't mean this wine can't be killer. Okay, in the glass here, wow, right away I am pretty intrigued by this sort of opaque and dark purple color here. It does have medium to low concentration. I certainly can see my hand through it, so it's not completely opaque. But it does have some almost violet tones. So while this is a typical ruby red, it does have these sort of, it is leaning more towards these almost violet colors here. As I turn my glass, I am not getting too much staining on the glass, and I'm not seeing a whole lot of legs here. I've got a really beautiful bird making a noise right behind me. I'm not seeing too many legs or anything like that, so it doesn't seem like the viscosity is going to be too heavy as well, but let's go ahead and take the nose. And before we continue, another thing that I'm noticing here is that there's actually no vintage on this label either. So my thoughts about this wine are probably pretty correct here, as far as it's being just a random blend, could even be a blend of different vintages from just whatever maybe was left over in barrels. So now my expectations are going slightly down, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. This was in the $22 price range, so I am looking for at least some level of quality here. Okay, it is giving me a medium intensity on the nose, maybe medium minus there. And I'm getting something a little bit jammy style fruit, which I think is to be expected, and a little bit of maybe grilled meat underneath that as well. And that's about it. I'm not getting a ton of like oaky presence, which is good. At least they didn't like douse this in oak and vanilla and toast and all that, but it's not overly complex. This is a low complexity, medium minus to low complexity. Let's just see how she fares on the palate. I am now getting some legs and tears showing up, and so that is boding well for at least the level of viscosity on the wine. Okay, on the palate. Okay, you know what? This is pleasant. That's the word I would definitely use here. This wine is extremely pleasant. It's super enjoyable once it hits the palate, so I'm a little bit relieved because I was pretty nervous about, is this gonna be any good? I'm gonna tell you right now, it's good. It is juicy. This is a very, very fruit-forward and juicy wine. It's not giving me too much in any other complexity. I am getting a little bit of that oak now on the finish, and I will say it is a long finish, but now I'm getting some of those kind of like hazelnut that I'm used to out of the Napa region. So I'm getting a little bit of that kind of hazelnut caramels on the finish, and a little bit of that toast on the finish, but not too much. It's not overbearing in any way, shape, or form. Just builds out that finish. And on the palate is pretty much all the fruit with hints of that grilled meat. There is a medium weight on here, so it is kind of satisfying on the palate. It's medium heavy here. It's pretty rich, almost syrupy in texture. Certainly there is some residual sugar here as well. Not so much to make it a sweet wine, but just to add a little pleasantness to that palate. Medium tannin structure here, and medium to medium minus acidity. I would say medium, even low acidity on here as well. So it's probably not going to be a good food wine. Yeah, I think my final word here is that the wine is at the very least pleasant. It is a pleasant wine. It is going to be satisfying to any new wine drinker. I've got a murder of crows. Oh my gosh, I've got a cloud of crows. Holy moly. I'm not sure if maybe that's an omen about how this wine's gonna do. Yeah, it's not great. If you're a serious wine drinker, definitely you're not missing much. You can probably pass on 1858, but this was only my first dive into Chuck Wagner's wines. Now, you will not see Caymus on this channel since it is probably about $90 to $120, but if you winos want to gift me that wine to review, I'm certainly open to that. You can email me, wino@vince.wine, and we can set up getting me a bottle of that. But otherwise, there are still the Mer Soleil wines, and I really, really want to check those out. They're much more affordable, as well as the sort of lower end Conundrum as well, so I certainly want to see what those are like. So let me know in the comments if you winos would love to see a review of those. If you enjoyed what you saw here today, please leave me a like. That helps so much. Don't forget to share this video with your wine friends, and until next time, winos, drink safe and drink well. Cheers.